Greetings. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. I'm Lexi Eve, and welcome back to another Walk Magick video. Today, we'll be exploring the supreme ritual of the Pentagram. I just want to say quickly, we just finished the Daily Holy season with the 3 days of the writing of the Book of the Law on April 10th, and I just hope everyone's Daily Holy season was wonderful. That Nuit's joys are in your heart, that Hadit is burning in the center of your being, and that Ra Horkuit has proven to be the force and vigor of your arms. Note, if you haven't listened to my LBRP or Greater Pentagram Ritual videos, I suggest you do so, as the Supreme Pentagram Ritual is very much like the Greater Ritual, only it goes one step forward in power level. Rather than just drawing 8 pentagrams, 4 elemental of air, fire, water, and earth, and 4 additional spirit pentagrams, 2 active and 2 passive. In the Supreme version, you're also going to draw symbols inside the pentagrams and intone Enochian words of power to help activate the pentagrams, thereby calling the 4 cherubim to the quarters. Note, nobody's given horrible feedback on the LBRP video, but maybe I'm just self-conscious. I know when I've done Gematria, I could get to the point where I invoke light in that meditative process, and that doesn't necessarily translate in lecture form. So again, I'm not going to be going crazy with any Gematria in this video. I do believe if you take my LBRP video very slowly and take out a pen and paper, follow my stream of thought on the Gematria, you could get a lot out of that video. Just listening to it by itself, it may seem dry or overloaded with obscure symbolism. I apologize for that. Lesson learned. At least that's my own self-consciousness talking. So I'm just going to be going over how to do this ritual, a few key points extra about it, and what its purpose is, what you can do with it. So, and I'll also explain what differences the Supreme has from the Greater Pentagram Ritual. And then I'm, of course, going to do a verbal step-by-step walkthrough. So with that, let's begin. In the LBRP, you work with earth pentagrams, and so it's the lesser form, working with the lowest aspect of the microcosm in Malkuth. Earth is made from the transmutation of the former 3 elements, and contains their seeds within it, but to a small degree. In the Greater Pentagram Ritual, you're working with the 5 elements, thus the whole of the microcosm, and Pentagrammaton in general. In the Lesser Hexagram Ritual, you work with the elemental hexagram, so it's like an elemental aspect of the planet, or you could perhaps look at it as the link between the micro and macrocosms. The Greater Hexagram Rituals work with the 7 planets or 12 zodiac, usually just one of them at a time, though you can use more than one. That then works with the macrocosm in general. And finally, today's subject. In the Supreme Pentagram Ritual, you work with the 4 fixed signs, so the highest aspects of the elements, like you would see in the Enochian tablets, or perhaps even the 4-fold tree of life that shows the 4 Kabbalistic worlds, each having their own tree of 10 Sephiroth and 22 paths. And each one of those Sephiroth have a tree of life sticking up out of it, so I believe there's a total of 400 Sephiroth in total. So the Supreme is definitely the highest aspect of the 4 elements, and at least that's how I look at it. But when are you going to use this ritual? As I said, it packs an extra punch to what you're doing. So you can simply do the LBRP followed by the Supreme, starting off by doing it at least once a week at first. I recommend for the first couple months just doing once a week, because for the most part it could leave you shaky with so much energy that until you're used to it, you might not function stably for 15-20 minutes if you do more on top of just the Supreme by itself. After a while, you build up a tolerance to that energy, and once you've balanced out and can finally do it once a day with no noticed side effects, so you build up once a week, then maybe 2 or 3 times a week, and then eventually once or twice a day. When you get to that point and it's completely stable, then you should use it before advanced rituals to add more potency to what you're doing. It's especially useful before doing most Enochian workings, such as scrying or Enochian invocations or evocations. It is great before most rituals like the Mass of the Phoenix or other epiclesias. And you can do it before most initiation rites. In fact, the Golden Dawn often used Enochian magic in their initiations, and so the Supreme Pentagram ritual works very well when you use the Supreme to open a temple and get energy flowing. I find it also works well when you're working with the Zodiac, or just need extra energy in your life. Again, Enochian is a very high and advanced form of magic, so you need to build your way up to being able to withstand those forces. Just be aware of that. So there's an invoking and a banishing form of the Supreme Pentagram ritual, and it's basically done just like the LBRP and LIRP, simply by drawing the banishing version of each pentagram, while the rest is the same as the invoking form. So you just reverse the order that you draw the pentagrams. We went over that in the Greater Pentagram Ritual video. So, regarding the elemental pentagrams, you are still making air and spirit active in the east, fire and spirit active in the south, water and spirit passive in the west, and finally earth and spirit passive in the north. You use the same words to charge these pentagrams: Yod He Vav He, Elohim, El, Adonai, Eheyah, and Agla, or Ate Gebor Le'olam Adonai. You're also going to use grade signs in this ritual. You're going to use the signs of Shu, which is air, Thaum Aish Neith, fire, Aramoth, water, Set fighting, earth, as well as the rending and closing of the veil. Rending is for the active, and closing of the veil is for passive spirit, after intoning the words of power. However, you will also be making the 5th degree equals 6 square grade signs after you finish making and intoning the words for all 4 spirit pentagrams. And all 8 pentagrams are assigned one Enochian word, which is also intoned while pointing at the pentagram. So those are the major differences right there. Also, you will be drawing the symbols for the 4 fixed signs of the zodiac in each of the elemental pentagrams, and the symbol of spirit, which is a circle with 8 spokes in each of the 4 spirit pentagrams. As Thelemites, here arises a preponderance. In the cry of the 23rd ether, Tor, Crowley perceived while scrying a black bull who said thus, quote, "For I who trample the earth thereby make whirlpools in the air. Be comforted, therefore, for though I be black, in the roof of my mouth is the sign of the beetle. Bent are the backs of my brethren, yet shall they gore the lion with their horns. Have I not the wings of the eagle and the face of the man?" End quote. Now Crowley's footnote here states, quote, "Thomas, the cherub of earth, he and the eagle of air make up the 4 officers of the new temple," end quote. Crowley used this vision to swap the placements of the 2 cherub, the man and the eagle, being Aquarius and Scorpio, in Atu 5, the Hierophant, and Atu 21, the universe. In Duquette's Understanding Aleister Crowley's Thoth Tarot, he further explains what's going on in those 2 tarot cards. Quote, "In the Thoth Tarot, however, Harris appears to break with this tradition in her placement of the cherubic beasts in the Hierophant and universe trumps. The bull and the lion dutifully occupy the traditional corners, but the angel and the eagle have switched positions. Could it be that she was ignorant of the order of the signs of the zodiac, and that Crowley let her get away with it in 2 important cards? Could it be that, in the Aeon of Horus, the signs of the zodiac have been rearranged? The answer to both of these questions is no. In the new Aeon, it is not the position of the zodiac signs, but the symbols of the cherubs that have changed. In Crowley's vision of the 23rd Enochian ether, it is revealed that the emblem for the fixed air Aquarius is now the eagle, and the emblem for fixed water Scorpio is now the angel." And he quotes from the 23rd ether, "The beasts and the scarlet women are attributed to Leo and Scorpio. They are the 2-in-1 chief officers of the temple of the new Aeon of Heru-Raha. Note that the eagle cherub in the 23rd air is Aquarius. Scorpio is the woman serpent. This is important, for the old attribution is of the eagle to Scorpio." End quote. Why am I bringing this up? I bring this up because as I was helping somebody to learn how to perform this ritual years ago, they asked me if I thought that Aquarius should still be drawn in the air pentagram in the east and the glyph of an eagle's head for Scorpio in the water pentagram in the west? Or because of Crowley's new placement, should these two symbols be swapped? In my opinion, no, they should not be swapped. Regardless of what's going on in the 23rd ether, that is something completely different from the microcosm. The signs have not changed positions. Aquarius is still an air sign, and Scorpio is still a water sign. Water in the microcosm is always attributed to the west. Air is always attributed to the east in the microcosm. These things do not switch. These visions are very particular to the tarot and the tarot alone, I believe. Crowley's Enochian magic is a thing of its own, and this ritual is its thing of its own. You have to learn with Thelemic magic, especially stuff like this that's coming from the Golden Dawn or coming from Enochian. These two systems, Hermeticism and Enochian magic, each have their own planes. Don't mix the planes, right? So this person asked me if these should be switched, and in my opinion, no. And you might be surprised I hold this view, but I don't hold everything Crowley saw or wrote as 100% fact, nor would I rely upon this swap, which pertains to images of the tarot, to start changing practices that involve Enochian magic. In my view, Aquarius is still and always will be an air sign, Scorpio a water sign. Period. Full stop. People go cuckoo when doing Enochian stuff in the best of circumstances. So don't do anything rash. I've performed this ritual hundreds of times as is and have never had any issue. I don't recommend fixing what isn't broken. Experiment at your own risk. This is very volatile magic, very volatile forces and energies at play. I've given my opinion. You could do what you wilt. If something goes wrong, I've given my point that nothing should be changed in this ritual. Now let's look at the pentagrams of the Supreme Pentagram ritual. For the two spirit active pentagrams in the east and south, the words intoned from the Enochian system are Exarp and Betome from the Enochian Tablet of Union. Exarp corresponds with air and will be intoned in the eastern spirit active pentagram right after it is drawn, by pointing to its center. Betome is the fire name from the Tablet of Union and is intoned in the southern spirit active pentagram right after it is drawn. For the spirit passive pentagrams in the west and north, Hekoma, H-C-O-M-A, Hekoma, is the water name from the Tablet of Union. That's intoned in the west. Nanta, N-A-N-T-A, is for earth. It's an earth name of power from the Tablet of Union, and that's intoned into the earth northern pentagram. Also in the east, after drawing the air pentagram, you point to its center of the air pentagram in the east and intone Oro Iba Eos P. That's a god name for the tablet of air found in the horizontal center. In the south, after drawing the fire pentagram, you point and intone Oyep Tia Pedoke, a god name for the tablet of fire found in its horizontal center. In the west, after drawing the water pentagram, you point and intone Empe Arcel Gaiol, a god name for the tablet of water found in its horizontal center. Then in the north, after drawing the earth pentagram, you point and intone Emor Dial Heketege, a god name for the tablet of earth found in its horizontal center. Now concerning all 8 pentagrams, you're also going to be drawing one symbol in the center of each pentagram, and then intoning a second word before giving a grade sign. In the east, you're going to draw the symbol for Aquarius in the air pentagram. Point and intone Yod He Vav He, and then give the sign of Shu. For the eastern active spirit pentagram, you draw the symbol of spirit, point and intone Eheyeh, and then give the 4 grade sides of INRI. Osiris slain, the morning of Isis, Apophis and Typhon, Osiris risen. In the south, for the fire pentagram, you draw the symbol of Leo, point and intone Elohim. Then you give the grade sign of fire by making a triangle with your hands on your brow, and it's the grade sign of Daum Aish Neith. Then for the southern active pentagram, you draw again the symbol for spirit, the circle with 8 spokes, point and intone eheia again, and once again give the grade signs of 5 equals 6, INRA. In the west, you draw an eagle's head in the water pentagram for Scorpio, point and intone L, AL. Then give the sign of water, Aramoth, which I'll be making a video on very soon in the next couple of days. For the Western Spirit passive pentagram, again draw the symbol for spirit, point and intone Ate Gebor Leolam Adonai. Then give the 4 grade signs of INRI, 5 equals 6. Finally, in the north, in the earth pentagram, you draw the symbol for Taurus, point and intone Adonai. Then give the grade sign of Set fighting. For the northern spirit passive pentagram, you draw the symbol for spirit, point and intone Ate Gebor Leolam Adonai again, and give the 4 grade signs of INRI. After you complete drawing your circle from the north back into the east, you return to the center of your circle. From here, it's exactly like the LRP and GRP, the lesser and greater rituals of the pentagram. Give the sign of Osiris slain by making a cross, extending your arms out at your shoulders. Say the words that you would normally say. I'll go over it in a second, which calls the archangels. And after that, you're going to close with the Kabbalistic cross, just as you had opened with. I mentioned also that you could visualize the 4 cherubim while doing this ritual. I suggest doing this while intoning the Enochian words of power for the pentagrams of air, fire, water, and earth. For example, in the south, you draw the fire pentagram, point, and intone Oyeptia Pedoke. So as you're intoning that word, or those 3 words, you visualize a lion's head with 6 wings behind it. So that's the cherubim of Leo. I find that the best place to visualize the cherub coming to the perimeter of the circle. So the 4 cherubim are described in appearance thus. In the east, for Aquarius, it's the head of a man with 6 curved wings behind it. In the south, a lion's head with 6 curved wings. In the west, an eagle's head with 6 curved wings. And in the north, a bull's head with same 6 curved wings. Later, when you give the sign of Osiris slain, and you're in the center of the circle, you're going to still call the 4 archangels. And I like to visualize them standing just behind the 4 cherubim, much bigger in appearance. So those are the differences from the greater ritual of the pentagram to the supreme ritual of the pentagram. Now what I'm going to do is give a full walkthrough of the ritual for your benefit. So begin in the center of your temple, steady your breath, perform at least the LBRP, if not other preliminaries. So LBRP, LBRH, lesser invoking ritual of the pentagram, and maybe even lesser invoking ritual of the hexagram. You could do all 4 of those, or you could just do the LBRP. Return to the center of the circle. After that's all done, you might do your purification and consecration of the space, which I've made videos on how to do. And now you're going to start the supreme invoking ritual of the pentagram. So you open, like you do the other ones, the other pentagram, hexagram ritual, or the pentagram rituals rather, with the Kabbalistic cross. So make a sphere floating above your head, point to it, and drag a shaft of light down as you bring your thumb or your magical weapon, your wand or dagger, to the brow line, the center of your forehead. And intone Ate, create a shaft of light down to your heart. A second sphere appears. Intone either Ayahuas or the name of your holy guardian angel. Bring the light down to the genital area or to your feet, a shaft of light, and create a 3rd sphere either at the genitals, the base of the spine, or half sunken into the ground, your choice. Intone Malkuth. Bring your magical weapon or your thumb or your finger back to your heart center. Make a shaft of light to the right shoulder. Intone Vegebura when a sphere of light appears. Bring a shaft of light out of your heart to your left shoulder. Create a sphere on the left shoulder. Intone Vegedula. Then clasp your hands at your midsection, fingers interlaced. I've explained that in previous videos. The 10 fingers are the 10 Sephiroth, so you want to interlace your fingers when you clasp them, and intone Leolam Amen, Leolam Amen. So that's the Kabbalistic cross. Now, you advance to the east. In the east, begin by making a spirit active pentagram. So you start at the bottom, draw up to the left. This is the invoking form. Finish that pentagram. Point to its center and vibrate Exarp. Here I give the sign of the rending of the veil after this first Enochian word. So you give the rending of the veil in the east and south. Next, draw the symbol of spirit on the astral in the center of this pentagram. Point at it and vibrate Eheya. Finish by giving the signs of 5 = 6. So Osiris slain, the morning of Isis, Apophis and Typhon, Osiris risen. Still in the east. Now we're going to draw an air invoking pentagram beginning at the right upper corner, drawing to the left, which is the air point. Make that air invoking pentagram, point to its center, and vibrate Oro Iba Ios P. Here you visualize the cherubim of Aquarius, the man with 6 wings behind it appearing. Make the symbol for Aquarius 3 curvy lines, one on top of another. So make the symbol of Aquarius in the center of the air pentagram. Point and vibrate Yod He Vav He, and give the sign of Shu, the sign of air. Now we're going to make a quarter of a circle to the south. Make another spirit active invoking pentagram, bottom right towards the upper left. Point and vibrate Bitom. Give the sign of the rending of the veil. Make the symbol for spirit, circle with 8 spokes. Point and vibrate Eheya. Give the signs of 5 = 6. Osiris slain, morning of Isis, Apophis and Typhon, Osiris risen. Still in the south. Make a fire invoking pentagram, top point to the bottom right beginning. Point and vibrate Oyaptia Pedoke, and visualize the cherubim of Leo, a lion's head with 6 wings, appearing in the south. Make the symbol for Leo. It looks like a circle with a long tail, like a sperm cell. Point at it and vibrate Elohim. Give the sign of fire by making a triangle on your brow line. Now we're going to draw another quarter of a circle to the west. Make a spirit passive invoking pentagram, bottom left to the mid right or upper right. Vibrate Hekoma. Give the sign of the closing of the veil. Next, make another spirit symbol inside of there and vibrate Ate Gebor Leolam Adonai. Give the signs of INRI 5 = 6. Still in the west, now we're going to make a water invoking pentagram by starting at the top left, drawing to the right towards the water point. Once you make your water invoking pentagram, point and vibrate Empe Arcel Gaio. Here you visualize the Scorpio cherubim, which is an eagle's head with 6 wings behind it, appearing in the west. Next, you're going to make a symbol of an eagle's head in the center of the water pentagram. Point and vibrate El. Give the sign of water, an upside down triangle just about over the heart. Having done the west, now you're going to draw a quarter of a circle to the north. Make another passive invoking pentagram, bottom left point to the upper right. Point and vibrate Nanta. Give the sign of the closing of the veil in the north. Make another spirit symbol in the center, circle with 8 spokes. Point at that symbol in the center of the passive pentagram and vibrate Ate Gebor Leolam Adonai. Give the signs of 5 = 6. Osiris slain, morning of Isis, Apophis and Typhon, Osiris risen. Still in the north, we're going to make an earth invoking pentagram from the top point down to the left. Point at this pentagram in the north and vibrate Amor Dio Heketega. Now you should see a visualization of the cherubim of Taurus appearing. So it's a bull's head with 6 wings behind it, floating in the north. Make the symbol for Taurus in this earth pentagram, the circle with the crescent moon on its head, horns. Point and vibrate Adonai and give the great sign of earth, set fighting. Complete your circle in the east and return to the center. And then this is just like the LBRP and GRP. So you give the sign of Osiris slain by extending your arms, and you say the following. Before me, Raphael, and you vibrate the angels' names. Behind me, Gabriel. At my right hand, Michael. At my left hand, Oriel. For about me flames the pentagram, and in the column shineth the six-rayed star. Again, do the Kabbalistic cross. Ate, a sphere in the shaft as you touch your forehead. Ate, shaft, sphere of light in your heart. Aiwas, shaft down to your feet, or the genitals where another sphere appears. Malkuth, shaft to your right shoulder as you touch it. Sphere appears. Vegebura, shaft to the left shoulder with a circle, with a sphere. Vegedula, clasp your fingers at the heart center or your midsection. Interlace the fingers. Leolam Amen. And then give the sign of silence. That's the whole of the Supreme Pentagram ritual. To do the banishing version, you can simply just reverse. You still go from east to south to west to north. It's just the way that you draw the pentagrams is instead of at the invoking, you do the banishing form, which I talk about in the greater pentagram ritual. So it's just you're drawing the pentagrams differently, but everything is exactly the same. In closing, I want to thank everyone for listening to this and any of my other videos. Concerning this ritual, I recommend first getting a solid grasp on the lesser and greater rituals of the pentagram. After those, you can then begin to do this once a week for about a month or two, and when you feel adjusted to it, do it a few times a week, and after that, do it once or twice a day. You could even, once you get to that point, do your LBRP in the morning, and then do like an LIRP and Supreme Invoking. You could leave it up all day, but you have to banish it at night, so make sure that you do that. I don't believe you have to perform the greater pentagram ritual in conjunction with this. You merely want to clear your space with the LBRP so that the forces that the Supreme Pentagram invokes, those are the only ones that come. Those are the only ones that are present. Like I said, you could do the invoking form in the morning, banishing at night or evening, whenever you feel comfortable. And a very last note. I hold the idea that the Star Ruby has enough potency to banish the Supreme Invoking ritual of the Pentagram. So if you do the Supreme as a preliminary to other ritual invocation or whatever, when you're finished at the very end, you should always banish the Supreme. So you could either do the Supreme Banishing ritual of the Pentagram, or I find that the Star Ruby suffices to clear the space of these forces. And that goes for almost every ritual you do. You want to clear the space, but especially rituals that incorporate Enochian magic. You want to make sure that all energy you have brought to your circle is first absorbed into your body of light, or else banished. You never want to leave portals open for things to come through later on when you're banishing and your astral stuff has somewhat faded. Portals could remain open a little bit longer sometimes. Especially, you don't want to leave Enochian portals open, so you want to always banish within that 24-hour period once you've done an invoking form. Don't leave things up more than that. It could start to drain you because you're connected to that astral light that you've created. So wherever you are, energy could be sucked out of you to maintain that astral impression that you've built, so you don't want to leave it up too long. So rather than it giving you energy, you'll end up giving it energy to sustain the astral form that you've created. So just be aware, always banish anytime you've done invocations. With that, love is the law, love under will. I'll see y'all in the next one.